Welcome to Harmonic Hands. This is, I'm going to go through 3 basic building blocks that my current coach teaches her students, and I subsequently teach my students. My coach was trained under Dorothy Taubman, so she is a Taubman trained pianist, retrained pianist. She worked with her for many, many years. Had the privilege of working with Dorothy Taubman, and I have the privilege of working with my current teacher, and she has just given me so much. So I'm going to go through these it'll be relatively quick, but these are the 3 building blocks that our students go through from the start. The first one is land and stand, and a lot of the time, I'm going to angle the camera to face me. We'll start with tapping, which is a forward and down motion, like this, to get that sense that the arms are going forward. Forward, forward, forward. Always forward, forward, forward. Okay. And then I'll have my students do some pretend. So forward, forward, forward. Forward, forward, forward. And then we'll take it to the individual finger. The first 3 fingers I start with probably for 2 to 3 weeks. And there's a lot of songs you can do with these 3 fingers. It's 2, 3, and 4. So I'll start them finger 3 because 3 is the longest and sometimes feels like the most stable finger. And it's just forward and down, sending that arm straight into that key. And then we'll do finger 2. I'm doing a little bit closer to the key surface just because it's already in me. And then we'll do finger 4. And again, it's just forward and down. And here's what it looks like as we start to really get this embedded in, and it's just right at the key surface. And then we have finger 5, which, since the second or third weak point, they're really playing more on top of the key surface. So finger 5, we just kind of remember to send our arm down into it, but because it's a little bit shorter of a finger, sometimes I feel like coming down like this is not as, sometimes not as productive. So just start right at the key surface. Okay, now we'll do left hand. So finger 3. And then it's just forward and down from the elbow. And then we'll do finger 2. And I also tell my students, when you play each finger, do you feel that the arm weight kind of moves into that finger? So I try to get them to start thinking about arm weight too, shifting from one finger to the next, and then of course finger 5, which is we're just going to start right at that key surface. But I really try to ask some questions. Do you feel like your arm weight is going right into your finger 2? Hopefully the answer is yes. If it's not, then we work on it. And then the same question, do you feel your arm weight going to finger 3? How do you feel about finger 4? So we talk about sort of that transferring of weight from one finger to the next. Now, the next thing we learn about is thumb, which starts to incorporate rotation. So, thumb is always a towards rotation, towards the torso. So, and then I do a lot of, holding their hand, making sure we do some slow rotations. Let me angle again. And then if a student is really kind of having a hard time with the concept, just hold their elbow in place. And it's rotating from the inside of the arm. Do it with left hand too. Or like opening a doorknob. So then we'll just do some towards, and it's always on the corner of that thumbnail. Towards, 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 towards. And sometimes that thumb will get stiff because they're really trying to focus on getting in that thumbnail corner, but when the knuckles are in alignment, there's no need to be stiff, because just like when our hips and knees are in alignment, we're not stiffing our knees and legs to hold us up. So the next step, of course, finding somewhere on the piano that is where the arm is, elbow, arm, forearm is parallel instead of being like on middle C where we have to, you're going to see a lot of like twisting at first like this. So, until they're a few weeks in, sometimes it's better to start where you're a little bit more straight. All right, so then we're just going to open the palm, and again, I start with imaginary playing. I sometimes don't have them play immediately. And then I also remind them, just like the Landon stand, we have to have a little bit forwardness to get that key to make any sound. So then, of course, I'll typically help them. I'll typically guide that thumb in there. The only tricky thing about guiding the thumb, you have to be very careful about making sure they're not turning from the wrist, because what can happen is if, this is kind of one of the only options to help guide the thumb into the key, but just try not to lift too much from here, because then their muscles are going to start to want to turn from in here. So just kind of holding that thumb joint in place. I'll do it with my left hand. So just kind of holding this thumb joint in place. Try not to lift too much from here, because again, that's just going to train the muscles to open up from the wrist. And if you feel like, perhaps you do need to kind of support this part, fine. Just tell them when you're opening them up and you feel tension, just tell them open up from the wrist. Take a nice deep breath. Forward and down. And then over time we start to see that the student has no problem opening that door and closing that door. And there's a little bit of a forward shove into that thumb. All right, so now they're starting to learn about rotation. We're going to move into rotation now. I did mention this was these are the three building blocks, so it's going to be a little bit quicker for someone who is trained. Something you might see happening if you're working with your students with Taubman rotation is their aways will start with a little bit of like a backswing. And it's understandable for someone who's just starting, they'll want to but kind of tell them to hold their hand like this and say, okay, what are you feeling? Where are you feeling this right now? Typically, they'll point to their wrists, they'll point to their elbows to say, okay, here's the thing. The away rotation and the towards rotation are the same motion. So you can go away, towards, towards, towards. Or, sorry, gosh, I keep saying it the wrong way. Towards, away, away, away. Towards, away, away, away. It's the same motion whether you're going this way, towards, or away, away. So I'll actually have them say it out loud as they rotate. So towards, 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 or away, 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 away. And we'll just do that for as long as it takes for them to understand the rotation and have their brain assimilate with the directions they're telling themselves. All right, then the next step is rotating finger 2 to 3 to 4 and to 5. And then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They're going to, you might see a little bit of 2 to 1, having a little bit of stiffness. So here's why you might see a little bit of that is thumb is the shortest finger. So they're going to feel like their arm needs to compensate, right? But rotation ready to go, and just go forward into that 2. Forward into 2. And that's going to immediately solve that problem. You can also kind of, you don't want the palm to start going like this. So you can kind of naturally, don't force them, because we don't want tension to be like this. But there should be a little bit of a curvature in the palm. So just kind of remind them to keep that palm, keep their roof. And that 2 should comfortably rest on the half step above 1. Again, because 1's a little bit shorter, you might see a student kind of struggling to go from 1 to 2 or 2 to 1. But just it's forward and down, forward, forward. Okay, and then the last building block is intervals, playing intervals, and a lot of method books will start with a 5th, because that balances, the purpose is to balance the hand and to have the palm feeling like it's just connected from arm to fingertips. So you just tell them, this is just a land and stand with 2 fingers. And that's all it is. Nice and easy. The palm should kind of just feel like it's attached to the arm. There is a teeny, tiny rotation towards thumb, but not really. Don't emphasize that. Just emphasize that it's just forward and down, and that the palm is just connected to the arm, and the fingers are connected to the arm. Sometimes it helps have them play their hands at the same time for comparison. Which one feels better? Why does one feel better than the other one? Questions like that. So those are the building blocks. And again, if a student is having trouble with any of these, close the lid. Take the sound out of it. Let's rotate from thumb to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And use analogies that they know, like what does it feel like to turn a light off that has a pull cord? That's what our fingers kind of feel like. It's like a light bulb that just turns off and on really quickly. And when the next finger plays, that's when that other light bulb goes off. So, do a lot of tapping, forward and down, forward and down. Do some, away, 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 or towards. And then just really, you can weight their fingertips. You can help them walk like they're just walking down the sidewalk. Have them, walk their fingers. And those are kind of the building blocks of what I do. Thanks for watching. If you have comments or questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section below.